Welcome to episode 69 of your CySA Plus Prepcast. Today's session explores a powerful set of tools that cybersecurity analysts use to uncover vulnerabilities in applications. Debugging tools. While scanners, baseline assessments, and static analysis tools are vital for identifying surface-level weaknesses, debugging tools allow analysts to step directly into the execution of code. With the ability to observe real-time behavior, trace memory access, and dissect runtime conditions, debuggers play a central role in validating vulnerabilities and understanding the mechanics behind exploits. In this episode, we will walk through how debuggers are used, highlight two essential tools, Immunity Debugger and GNU Debugger, and explain how these resources align with vulnerability analysis goals and CySA Plus exam objectives. Let us begin by defining debugging in the context of cybersecurity and vulnerability analysis. Debugging is the process of observing, analyzing, and controlling the behavior of software as it executes, with the purpose of identifying logical errors, memory issues, and security flaws. Unlike static analysis, which inspects code without running it, debugging involves execution in a controlled environment. Analysts step through instructions, inspect variable values, and monitor how the application interacts with system resources. This capability is essential for validating vulnerabilities discovered during scanning and for gaining insight into how those vulnerabilities can be exploited in practice. Cybersecurity analysts frequently use debuggers to monitor and control the execution of code. They observe how functions operate, what data is passed between memory locations, and how different code branches behave under specific input conditions. This step-by-step analysis provides unmatched visibility into application logic. For vulnerability analysts, debuggers help reveal not only where a problem exists, but also how it behaves at runtime, and how an attacker might leverage it to gain control of a system or compromise data. One of the most widely used tools for this purpose is Immunity Debugger. Designed for Windows environments, Immunity Debugger provides a graphical interface that allows analysts to explore programs in detail. It supports real-time execution control, breakpoints, stack tracing, and memory inspection. Immunity Debugger is particularly valuable in exploit development, reverse engineering, and Windows vulnerability research. Its user-friendly design, extensibility through Python scripting, and support for integration with tools like Metasploit make it a versatile choice for analysts at all levels. Immunity Debugger's strengths lie in its interactive capabilities. Analysts can set breakpoints at specific instructions, watch how input data travels through memory, and observe how an application reacts to unexpected values. For example, when analyzing a suspected buffer overflow vulnerability, analysts use Immunity Debugger to identify the exact point where memory is overridden, and to verify whether the overflow can be manipulated to execute arbitrary code. The debugger allows for controlled experimentation, helping analysts distinguish between benign bugs and serious security flaws. Another essential tool in this space is the GNU Debugger, or GDB. GDB is a command-line debugger commonly used in Unix-like systems, including Linux and embedded platforms. It allows analysts to inspect and manipulate program execution in environments where graphical tools may not be available. With GDB, analysts can examine the call stack, modify variable values, observe register states, and step through source code instructions. GDB is indispensable for security professionals working with open-source software, custom binaries, or firmware-level analysis. GDB enables analysts to pinpoint complex runtime vulnerabilities such as use-error-free errors, heap overflows, and improper memory allocation routines. These vulnerabilities may not be detected through static code reviews, but manifest during execution. GDB allows analysts to explore how memory is allocated and freed, observe how user input affects system behavior, and understand the precise conditions that lead to a crash or exploit opportunity. This deep inspection supports reliable proof-of-concept development and defensive patch verification. Debugging is not an isolated process. Analysts frequently use debugging tools in conjunction with vulnerability scanners and static analyzers. For example, a scanner may identify a suspicious function that could be vulnerable to an integer overflow. Analysts then use a debugger to execute the application under specific test cases and observe whether an overflow occurs. If it does, the analyst can trace the impact, assess the exploitability, and determine mitigation options. This layered approach improves accuracy and ensures that reported vulnerabilities are meaningful and actionable. Dynamic debugging techniques are particularly valuable when static analysis fails to reveal an issue. By observing how an application behaves in real time, analysts can uncover flaws that are dependent on runtime data, memory state, or user input. Examples include race conditions, delayed memory corruption, or execution flow changes that only occur under very specific conditions. Debuggers allow analysts to recreate these scenarios, measure their impact, and develop a comprehensive understanding of how attackers might exploit them. Debugging tools also play a vital role in exploit testing and validation. Analysts may use frameworks like Metasploit to generate exploit code, then test it against a vulnerable application using a debugger. The debugger allows them to confirm whether the exploit successfully redirects execution, modifies memory as expected, or causes a system crash. This hands-on validation is essential for verifying vulnerability severity and for understanding how to defend against the exploit using patching, configuration changes, or intrusion prevention systems. Finally, analysts document all debugging activities in detail. This includes descriptions of the vulnerability, memory analysis results, execution flow findings, and remediation recommendations. Documentation supports compliance with internal policies, enables peer validation, and provides evidence for risk management decisions. It also contributes to a growing repository of knowledge that can be referenced for future analysis, incident response, or training purposes. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Let us now focus on how vulnerability analysts implement debugging tools effectively in real-world environments and apply best practices to ensure both safety and accuracy. The first and most important rule in using debugging tools is to operate exclusively within secure, controlled environments. Analysts never run debuggers on production systems. Instead, they use virtual machines, isolated sandboxes, or dedicated lab environments designed specifically for vulnerability testing. These setups allow analysts to examine application behavior without risking disruption to operational services or exposure to malware that may execute during analysis. Debugging tools are also integrated into various stages of the software development lifecycle. By incorporating debugging early in development, analysts and developers can identify vulnerabilities before code reaches production. This proactive approach supports secure coding practices and allows for low-cost remediation. Analysts often review newly developed applications using debuggers in combination with code reviews and static analysis tools. By validating how code behaves under real-world input conditions, analysts catch security flaws that might otherwise be missed during design or unit testing. Memory exploitation analysis is a core use case for debuggers. Analysts use tools like Immunity Debugger, or GDB, to examine how applications handle memory operations such as buffer allocation, pointer dereferencing, and stack usage. Debugging tools allow precise inspection of stack frames, heap allocations, and register values, helping analysts trace how user input flows through an application. This detailed visibility is essential for detecting exploitation opportunities, such as buffer overflows, use after free bugs, or integer overflows that might lead to remote code execution. Fuzz testing is often performed alongside debugging. Fuzzing involves feeding a program with malformed or unexpected data to provoke crashes or unpredictable behavior. Analysts then attach a debugger to the application to investigate what caused the crash. This helps pinpoint exactly where and how the application failed. By analyzing memory state and code paths at the moment of failure, analysts determine whether the crash is exploitable and develop proof-of-concept exploits or secure configuration recommendations. The combination of fuzzing and debugging is one of the most effective strategies for uncovering complex and previously unknown vulnerabilities. Effective debugging requires collaboration with other teams. Vulnerability analysts frequently work with developers to explain debugging findings, such as unsafe memory usage or improper input validation. Analysts translate technical details into secure coding recommendations, helping developers understand the root cause of vulnerabilities. They may also coordinate with quality assurance teams to include debug scenarios in test cases, or with operations teams to verify whether vulnerabilities exist in deployed software versions. This cross-functional collaboration ensures that debugging findings are resolved quickly and effectively. Modern debuggers often support scripting and automation, which enhances efficiency. Tools like Debugger offer scripting support via Python, while GDB includes a Python API that allows analysts to automate breakpoints, trace analysis, and crash diagnostics. These automation capabilities reduce repetitive manual steps and allow analysts to test hypotheses more quickly. Analysts write custom scripts to analyze memory structures, monitor application state, or automatically detect signs of exploitation. This accelerates the debugging process and improves coverage during large-scale assessments. Regular training is essential for maintaining proficiency in debugging techniques. Analysts must understand fundamental concepts such as memory segmentation, stack frame analysis, exception handling, and instruction decoding. They also need practical experience with platform-specific debugging tools and runtime environments. Training exercises might include deliberately exploiting vulnerable applications in a lab, analyzing malware samples, or simulating zero-day discovery scenarios. These hands-on activities reinforce theoretical knowledge and prepare analysts to handle real-world security challenges. Debugging findings are not limited to technical observation. They contribute directly to vulnerability management decisions. For example, if a vulnerability is discovered in a widely used software component, debugging analysis helps determine how exploitable the vulnerability really is. If exploitability is confirmed, the vulnerability is treated with higher urgency. If it is not directly exploitable, the finding might be deprioritized or mitigated with configuration changes. This insight supports accurate risk assessment and resource allocation for remediation efforts. Continuous improvement is a key part of effective debugging practice. Analysts review past incidents, analyze failure points, and update debugging playbooks to reflect lessons learned. As new attack techniques emerge and software becomes more complex, debugging methods evolve to address the latest risks. Analysts update their toolkits, refine their scripts, and stay informed about advances in exploit development and reverse engineering. This iterative approach ensures that debugging capabilities remain aligned with both technical advancements and emerging threat landscapes. As with all aspects of cybersecurity, documentation is critical. Analysts maintain detailed records of debugging procedures, system setups, memory findings, crash logs, and vulnerability conclusions. These records help support compliance audits, vulnerability disclosures, and remediation verification. They also provide clarity for incident response teams, who may reference debugging documentation during forensic investigations or containment planning. By documenting findings thoroughly, analysts ensure that their work contributes to long-term knowledge building and continuous security improvement. To summarize, Episode 69, Mastering Debugging Tools such as Debugger and Debugger equips cybersecurity analysts with the advanced skills needed to identify, analyze, and understand runtime vulnerabilities in complex software environments. Debugging is more than just a technical exercise. It bridges the gap between vulnerability detection and remediation. It empowers analysts to confirm exploitability, provide developers with actionable recommendations, and improve security outcomes through precision analysis. These capabilities directly align with your CySA Plus exam objectives and are essential for advanced vulnerability management, secure software development, and incident response. Stay tuned as we continue your comprehensive journey towards CySA Plus certification. Success. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.